You are tuning in to John Pierre and Mary's fun-loving, crazy, and honest podcast.
If it don't smell bad, it must be clean.
Unequally Yoked, where any and every topic, life,
marriage.
I'll go first because I have something to say.
Uh-oh.
Kids and entrepreneurship are up for discussion.
How does Mary, a pastor's daughter,
and John, a guy who rarely saw the inside of a church growing up, get together and stay together. We all have roles.
What does life look like 10 plus years into marriage?
2 kids and trying to run a family business.
How do we keep this nest egg from cracking?
What you mean?
Listen in to Unequally Yoked as we dive in to give a man
next and a woman's perspective.
Somebody back me up on this.
To all the topics married folks are talking about.
Are you ready?
Let's do this, boo. Hey guys, welcome back to Unequally Yoked with John Pierre and Mary. This is episode 2, but part 2 of episode 2, because when you start having a great conversation with someone who you really admire, and it's just so freaking interesting to hear about people's their journeys. Yeah. We had to make it to a part 2. So welcome back, Miss Paige Turner. Okay. We'll put some music right there.
Put something in the edit for that.
And we want to let John talk, okay? I do want to let John talk. He's got all these he's geeking about.
No.
He was, last night I was going to let John talk and I let him talk. He really was geeking about just all the questions that he had for you. And I do want to give him an opportunity. I just think what's going to happen is I'm going to have to go to LA is where you are,
right?
By myself,
right?
On a mom trip.
Have a mom woman's trip.
All the things that I see on Paige's Instagram. By the way, please let everybody know what your Instagram is.
It's very important.
It is at Paige Turner Unlimited.
Unlimited, honey. We unlimited around here. We ain't no limit. I'm from Louisiana. We were no limit soldiers. She is unlimited. Okay, I love that. And of course, we'll say our Instagram. Yeah. And it's Mary TJP
and John Pierre TJP. Let's get back to the interview.
Let's get back to it. He's ready to go.
I'm super excited. Paige, you've already given us so much. I'm a huge believer in being able to take the leap and stepping out on faith and just kind of putting yourself out there, because that's really the only way you're ever going to realize your full potential, right? And so now you've moved back to LA.
Yes.
And what are you doing when now? Obviously, we know you have a show coming out, so definitely tell us whatever you can about Fix My Flip. But just kind of give us what's happening for you now and what's going to be happening in the future.
First of all, did you pitch this show too?
Yes.
Oh, you're a boss.
I just like the look.
I love it.
Of course
She's
I
did.
I did.
Yes.
I created it with my partner, who's also one of my best friends, and my brother, Freddie Bell. We created, once the previous show was canceled, a couple of other people had approached me with some shows. And I said, you know what, Freddie, I know myself best. Let's just create my own show. We created it. And it was called Fix My Flip. So we didn't even change, or they'd even changed the title.
Love it.
And I pitched it right to the president of the network.
Wow.
It got greenlit. And that's what we did. We was like, oh, we're okay. We said, okay. And
that's
it got greenlit.
Cool.
And we started filming in May. So it's called Fix My Flip. And what's really amazing, and this just goes back to the faith part, John. It's like we created a show because we wanted ownership, from here on out. Because when the last show was canceled, it was like, okay, we had to change directions and shift and I'm real good at pivoting, my whole life I've had to pivot. So that was okay. So we pivoted right out here because I want to come back home anyway, which I really didn't even know until the show was canceled. And so we pitched it. So we're EPs, both of us are creators, EPs, and I'm the host. So it's like that whole triple threat. And I'm Black.
Amazing.
You know what I'm saying?
It's so dope, man.
Come on.
That is so
dope. That song. John gets mad when I sing this song. It's like black on black, black on black, black on black. Black on black.
I put that on Instagram, black on black on black on black. So, and I'm a woman. So it's like, that's really, really important to us to have that recognition and sit in that different seat, on such a major network. But the show is called Fix My Flip. And I'm going in to help people who are in a deep dung of their flip. I'm usually novice, or a couple of them have flipped before. It's just they have crazy floor plans or crazy areas, or their budget is all out of control. One couple doesn't even have a budget. Had this flip for 12 months.
Oh,
I'm like, oh, you in a hobby now. So
you
don't want to make money.
Right.
You're so good at being in that mentor role. Like that's basically what you're putting yourself into. It's like helping people. Cause I know we receive messages, and I'm sure you do all the time, especially I'm sure when Flip or Flop was on, people asking, do you mentor? Do you teach classes? Like there are so many people out there that want to get into real estate, want to get into flips. It's like we did. It was, again, just faith by fire or whatever. What is it? What is that? What the term is?
It was definitely a fire.
It was definitely a fire. And, you know, if anything, we should have set that house on fire. So we probably would have made more money doing that than that first flip. But I mean, what are some of the tips, without giving too much of the show away, but what are some of the tips you give and can give people out there who are wanting to get into real estate and again, asking us all the questions? What are some of the things that you can give tips on?
Well, number one, I tell people I didn't have one, which is why it cost me a lot of money and time and heartache, but you have to have a mentor. You have to find somebody who's been successful at flips, even if that means, because I do think that mentors are also worthy of their pay and their labor and their value. So if that means that you have to include somebody, you know, in your profit share when you decide to flip, just to help you and to mentor you and to guide you. That's just number one. You know, to get out of Google and YouTube and find a human being who in your area who can walk you through this, you know, because you're going to lose a lot of money if you don't.
Do you think it's valuable to be a realtor? Do you think people should become a realtor? I think we talked about that before, even with Alan.
Yeah.
I definitely think that it's not invaluable. You know, it would only add to your knowledge base and possibly your income, you know, so I would not say to do it. So I think that's just up to the person. I would do it. You know, if I was only interested in investing and flipping, I would definitely get my license just so I have that much more of a knowledge base.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you. Yeah. I didn't, at the time when I got my real estate license, I didn't know that I didn't need it to get into investing, because we didn't start with a mentor. There was no mentor. So our mentor was losing money on our first house that we flipped. That was our mentorship, right? We just
or second or third or fourth.
So we lost, but you know, I one of the things that I think is important for people who do step out is that they really have to have a mindset of like, there's really not any losses. There's only just lessons. Right. And so we lost money, but we learned a whole bunch and we didn't lose any money on any flips after that because we learned so much from the first one. Yeah. And so I think the best way to avoid that scenario is to get a mentor, like you're saying, because that in any other you know, area of life that I've been in, I've always had a mentor. And for whatever reason, HGTV motivated us enough. And that's literally how we got into it, just watching HGTV. And I was like, oh, we can do that. We should do that. I want to do that. And that's how it started. Right? Like that's how it actually started.
And I was like, nah. No, sir. You go back to that well-paid oil industry job and bring me back my check.
You could not create him to be this faith walker and then reel him back in.
You're so right. But let me tell you something. It's called timing. Okay. And when we first met,
I don't have timing. Free spirit. Listen, I have a free spirit and I love the Lord. I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna change my whole life right now. It's the worst time. It's a pandemic, worst time in the world, but I'm gonna change it up.
Whatever it takes. Now, I pushed him in the beginning to really find his way when we didn't have a mortgage, when we didn't have children, when we were able to do things and not have, you know, major responsibilities. But it wasn't until we got a mortgage, we had a 5-month-old baby, and then here he come with the face. Whoa, I think I gotta do something. Is that how you talk?
Apparently.
That's where
I want to live in my passion. I gotta find my passions. And so at first I said no, but then I had to go back and be like, who am I to stop this man from being happy and pursuing his passions? And so he did, and he's been taking me. He drugged me a little bit, but now I've got up, dust myself off, and I'm just on the journey and like being a witness to what I think is going to be an amazing testimony in the end.
It is an amazing testimony. And faith, there's no need for faith if it's possible. You only operate in faith in the impossible with a 5-month-old in a new marriage. Like, wait, you want to do what? Yep, spend it all. Let's try it out. You know what I'm saying? Why not?
I just said, I just don't want to be homeless. I know what that feels like. Please make sure we can eat. We're going to be all right. Yeah. And he's like, just believe in me. Yeah. I got you. And I was like, love that. All right, let's do it.
Yeah. I honor both of you for that. That is such a blessing to hear that.
Thank you.
Beautiful. It's beautiful.
So that kind of leads me to I'm going to go back a little bit because one of the realest moments that I saw on TV, period, especially on HGTV, is whenever you walk into that house on your first show on Flip or Flop, that was a shell, and you just started crying, right?
I texted you about that. We were watching that together. I sent you like he and I were like teary-eyed, because we know what that feels like. Right. And John says, oh no, this is a real moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They kept me outside and didn't tell me. I knew what we were doing, but I didn't know, we should just burn the house down. Like you were just talking about before. I would have burned the house down. And so they kept me outside. I was all hunky-dory ready. I was like, yeah, let's go. We're about to do this. Yeah, try one time. And I walk in like, because I knew we shouldn't have bought that house. I knew, but you understand the pressures that the television industry doesn't put you in, but puts you in, right? It's still our choice what to do. And it was one of those pressure point moments. And I said, this is a really, really bad decision, because I knew it was a tear down. You know? But I am a faith walker, sometimes to my own financial demise, you know, like, or dent at least. And I knew it was bad. And Duran knew it was bad. Duran is a really great contractor. You know, and so we built a couple of homes together. I built them by myself, you know, back in the day. And so we knew that, but we needed a house. So the market was so tight in Nashville at the time. I was like, well, let's just try. We did not know what was going on behind 3 walls. It wasn't bad. This house had 3 walls, 4 floors. I mean, they had been covering stuff up for almost 100 years.
Wow.
Burns. I mean, it was out of control. So at that moment when I walked in, I was like, oh, I'm broke. And those tears were like, oh, I just lost every dime I have.
Everything. And that's really what it felt. I think the one thing I said whenever I watched it was like, they for sure lost money on that house. Yeah. Like, and even if you didn't, but the way that you, so like the way that you looked, it was like you knew that this was crushing like your heart. It's not even, and it's a lot of people don't recognize that it's not necessarily about the money per se, right? Like whenever you get into something and you're giving it your all, and whenever you're making this TV show, when you're making a flip show, you're giving your blood, sweat, like it's not even, for you, it's not even about the money anymore. And we can definitely, you know, share that experience about how when you're making a TV show, fixing and flipping houses, yes, you're trying to make money, but man, you're just trying to make it. You're actually just trying to make it. And so whenever you have to deal with the normal things that go wrong in the flip, to walk into a house and see that there's nothing there, I can only imagine what that felt like. And so knowing that you're going to have to give even more to this house, besides your money, you have to give yourself to this house.
And you have to make it HGTV worthy at the end. Like it has to be this dramatic, beautiful thing in the end. Was the pressure that we feel. I just
had listening to you guys talk about that house. That was our last episode of the last season before the show got canceled. So there was a lot of like, dang, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh my God, this is the last house and we're done, you know?
Yeah.
And it was just that culmination of everything, you know, all of the pressure of the show and of life and of children and of this specific house. You know, I was just like, what else can I give? You know? What else can I do? And the surprise of it, you know, because after that we cut, I was pissed off.
I'm sure you were.
Well, they didn't tell you.
On Bravo. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, who set this up? Okay. Because I can go Bravo or I could stay.
We always said from the beginning that the drama will always be with the houses. It will never be between he and I. Right. Like that's not gonna.
That's very
like important. That. You know what I mean? Like we don't need no help on that. Extra. There's no extra on that. Okay. Yeah. But I love that.
I set Duran and I up in a different situation where he was mad that I changed the window style. No, the amount of windows, I think it was. And so they had me rush down to set for a big change. And I'm like, okay, here I come. I'm around the corner. So they had kept me outside, and I walked in, and John was like, what is this? And I was like, who the hell you talking to? Oh, no, I'm sorry. So they told me like to piss you off. I was like, oh no, we're not doing that. I said, we are really Black in real life, and we really don't like each other. You know what I'm saying? This is like, you know, we are exes for real, for real. You know, we ain't married. And you know, this can become a brawl. So I was like, what's that? I said, where'd that come from? Let me call him.
Oh my God, that is hilarious.
I was like, wait a minute, bro. I was like, oh no.
We're not doing that kind of TV show around here.
No, we listen, we can, but we're gonna switch networks.
Right. But I love that. But you know, getting back to even this the real estate part of it, I love that you can show the losses, because that's what he was saying in that. And I mean, we don't get to watch a lot of TV because we do have children who take over.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they want to watch their stuff. I mean, they don't even want to watch us either.
Right.
They're like, oh, mommy, daddy. Okay, can we watch whatever they wanted to watch?
Right.
But I just remember watching that episode and being just so thankful that they did show that everything is not a win. It's not going to be a win every single time. And that's really important for people to have seen that. You know, there's a format for the shows where, you know, thinking about even the original Flip or Flop, where it seemed like they always won, you know what I mean? And so it was really great to see, not just like a loss, but just to let people, I think people have a jaded view, of what really is real. And so going back to
Fix My Flip, there's
a
lot of real moments like, okay, y'all, listen, we have to have a come to Jesus talk right now because ... But there's a lot of realness on this show. Like
that's cool. And that's super cool. And I think it's important people to see that, because otherwise it's not believable. Right. And in the end, it needs to be believable. And even more importantly than that, people need to know that it's actually you. Right. So like whenever they're watching that,
feel authentic.
They need to know that it's Paige Turner talking to real people, doing real things, having real moments. And that to me is what makes a show attractive and what's so cool about you and everything that you've done. So,
and in those real moments
about our network now, they're pushing their shows into, we have to make it more relatable. So more real, you know, without the, you know, ruining relationships part, you know,
right.
And on other networks, but they
kicking
are,
people body down.
Yes, they are open to that now, because we've had to call, you know, as an executive producer, you know, we've had to call the network and talk to them like, hey, this is real life and this is what really happened. I know you guys shoot for ABC, but we got D, E, F, G, and H, you know,
and people want that. I think the way that people are watching TV now and the shows that really are resonating with them are the ones that are more real and authentic. You know, they want to see you know, a couple, maybe you have a couple that you're working with that are new to flipping and they don't necessarily know everything and they make the mistakes, but in the end, maybe it works out great. And then there may be a show where it doesn't, but I know that there's a lesson that's going to be learned in each episode. And now you've already told us one of the things we need is a mentor, right? We don't necessarily need to be a realtor, but it would help if you were. What is something else that you can give tips for people out there who want to get into real estate?
I think another thing is that people don't run their flips like a business. This is your business. If you treat it like a hobby, if you treat it like a hustle, that's one of the biggest things. I want to get in the real estate game. Well, this is not a game. Let me be very clear. If you come in in this business with that mindset that you're in here to, you know, hustle, it's a game, you're not going to win. And if you do once or twice, it's not going to be something that's consecutive. I've been in real estate almost 20 years, and that's all I've done. I mean, I've done other things, but like that has been my main source of income. But that's because I treat real estate like a business, you know? And so I would say, even if it's just one flip that you do here or there, set it up as a business, put the house in an LLC, remember your taxes, have a budget. You know, you have to look at this like, I got to go to work. I have to go and check on my flip every day, because I guarantee you, if you only check on it once a week, you're going to lose money. You already know, John, you already know. The wrong this, the wrong that, the right wrong, the wrong right is because you're not checking on your baby. You know, your businesses are babies to people. They're part of the family, you know, and you have to set your flip up as a business and really consider it like, oh, this is my business. It's not a side hustle. You know, even if it is I don't even like to say side money. If it's another stream of income for you, that stream should be respected as a business.
Absolutely.
I agree. Yeah, I think discipline is a huge part of it. And people always, there's a saying that I really don't like. And people say it's just business. It's not personal.
It's always personal. My money is so personal. Let me tell you something. Let's take my money and see how personal it gets. I say that all the time, John. Like you have to understand that it's so personal. It's more personal than business, because now you're affecting not just my day-to-day life and if my family's going to eat, but if you're building your business, whatever it may be, up as a legacy for your children's children to eat from. You know, of course it's personal. I so agree with that. That gets my heart pumping. Like,
exactly.
I don't understand that. I have crazy. One couple on the show that I mentioned. I sat down with them and, okay, so what is your budget? Let me see your budget. Oh, we don't have one. Let me see your written budget. Oh, the contractor has it. That would be my third tip. Your contractor works for you. You do not work for your contractor. You can fire that contractor. You can check that contractor. You can show up on that contractor, and you can change things on that contractor. People get so intimidated by their contractors. I'm like, you're paying them.
Right.
This is a whole other mindset. And, something I have to teach people, like, he she works for you.
Yes. And we went through that a little bit, and by that, the third contractor ended up being John. Like, he was, at the end of the day, because he was like, I can do this. You know what I mean? We really were just, I don't want to say we were afraid. We just didn't know. Like, we didn't know the order of things. Right. We didn't know what was next.
We didn't take your first bit of advice.
We didn't have a mentor.
We didn't have a mentor. So we kept trying to figure it out ourselves. And that was part of the whole process. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And you do have to be willing to make changes. You have to be able to keep it real and understand what needs to happen, but you damn sure better have a budget.
Better have a budget.
That's like, you might as well just stop. If you don't have a budget.
Really, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because if you don't have a budget, if you buy the house for a certain amount and you don't know what the after, what is it? ARV,
yeah.
If you don't know what that's going to be, then how can you set a budget? Because then you won't know what your profit's going to be. So then are you just doing it because you're bored? Like, what, because you just want some excitement in your life? Like, what would be the point of getting to it if you aren't trying to make a profit and then take that to do something else?
And with all due respect to every network that has flipping shows, I think that people see it on TV and they think it's so easy, and they don't see the blood, sweat, and tears and the loss that we've been talking about behind the scenes. So they just jump in and they don't do their due diligence on anything, which is another reason, because you just hit on something, Mary, that I think it's important that I would get my license, because then you can learn, not that you can't learn how to comp, but you have a different understanding of comping, of appraisals, of all of the, addendums and amendments and, everything that we need in real estate to really solidify being in this business. Right. And so, because having a budget and that ARV comes with, well, what are the current comps? What can you see the uptick or downtick in 3 to 6 months being? You have to be able to figure all of that out now. I got there, they didn't even know I said, what do you think the house will be worth once you're finished? Oh, we're thinking 1.2. I said, it's a strong 1.5. What are you looking at?
Right.
I was like, come on. But
they're just guessing.
Down. They just guess, and they don't do their due diligence on that part.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's all been amazing information. I think the one thing that I've taken away, number one, besides just your ability to step out on faith, I think that's just, that in of itself, we hear it so much, right? Like we hear people stepping out on faith, but not enough people do it. And so I think just being able
to
have
faith, but they're not working on it. Like, what is it? What is that?
Faith without works is dead.
It's dead. There you go. Come on with it.
Right. And I think, and what's really cool, I'll take it. We have a little time. I'll make it quick though. Okay. So faith is such a weird word to me, right? Like, faith is, people have faith, but faith only works if you don't know the truth, right? Like, if you don't know the outcome. Otherwise, it's not faith.
I knew we were about to go to church. I got to write that down. I knew we were about to go to church. Okay.
Right.
Continue, Pastor John.
So like, when people talk about stepping out on faith, most people don't like to step out without knowing what the outcome is going to be, right? So you can't step out on something that you already know to be true.
Absolutely.
Then it's not faith, it's fact. Right. So to step out on faith is to actually believe in yourself so much that you are going to make whatever that outcome you want to be happen. And that's what the stepping out on faith is. Stepping out is actually stepping into yourself, right? Stepping into who you really are, right?
Yeah. Look, I got the old church mother rock.
My language. Let me get my fan.
So for me, that's what's so inspiring listening to your story is that you're talking about how you're making your moves outwardly, like you going from California to Tennessee, from Tennessee back to California, when in actuality, you're just stepping more into who you are. Yes. And to be able to share that with people, I think is like so unbelievable. That makes me, it's inspiring to me. So listening to your story is inspiring. So I appreciate that part of your conversation more than anything. So thank you so much.
And you don't know what you just hit because we'll have to talk offline, but I'm telling you, you hit something that we're going through right now. And I know John know what I'm talking about. Yeah. You just let us know how important it is. And that it can happen. Yeah. And you're just like that living, speaking truth of yourself. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. I love it. And we appreciate you again for just being such a constant support to us. Those text messages of you just being like, hey, Mary, I'm checking in on you. How you doing? And literally you are on time every single time where I'm like, oh, you do not want to know what's going on. She's like, tell me, lay it on me, give it to me. You know what I mean? And then you're able to, in that moment, just be like, Mary, it's okay. I've been there. And guess what? I've come out on the other side. And reading those messages, even to John, the morning of the reveals and all the things that we were going through, he was like, wow.
Yeah. It's super cool.
Because you feel so alone. You feel alone in that journey as hosts, as other people. Like we just think that we were on like this island by ourselves, and you just made us feel included. And and we really appreciate you. Absolutely. We really do.
I appreciate you too as well. For being transparent in those moments, because I've been there and I'm all pure intentions with you guys. You guys are family. And it's like, we had an instant connection, Mary, when we first talked. I was like, okay, I'm going to tell you some basic things and you do with them what you want. Yeah. But I got you just because you reached out. Yeah. Only because you reached out. We had such a good conversation and I just could feel your spouse. Like, she is so sweet and so cool. I've got them. You know what I'm saying? And a beautiful family. I've got them.
That. You're the only one that responded. Just want to throw that out there. You know what I'm saying?
But listen, number one, that's true. What she just said is very true, and also
it's enough room for all of us.
It's so important. If you can take one other thing away from this conversation is you don't. Closed mouths don't get fed. Right. You have to open your mouth and ask for help, and ask for guidance, and ask for things. And true people, and good people will be there for you. And it's not necessarily even in the way that you thought it would be, but it will be there. And thank you so much. We're going to let you go because I know you got a lot going on, but thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
We appreciate you. And we cannot wait. Do you have an air date yet?
Yeah.
Tentatively right now, Fix My Flip will start airing December 9th.
Ooh, great. We can't wait. We'll be watching and we can't wait to see what you're going to do next, because it seems like you have so many ideas and you are not afraid to shoot your shot. Honey. Right. I love it.
And I have some for you too. So, we'll have to connect on that.
Yes, come on. I'm ready. As Tiffany had just to say, she ready.
She ready.
All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We just had such she just blessed us so much. And absolutely. If you guys have any questions for us, we're definitely going to post this on all of our social media. Look at our time. Look how I'll be on time every time, baby. All right. We take care. We'll see you guys again next time.
Bye.
Bye.